that's what I say.
Go together, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a thought.
Yeah, we can. Okay. All right, let's go to Samach Daled. Sichos Samach Daled. Okay. Let's learn. Let's go. How long are we gonna wait for you? We got Noah from New Jersey. Okay, here we go. That's not what it's all about. Samach Daled, here we go. Minin hisnasus v'gedula ein raya klal. I don't have a good. What's a good translation of hisnasus? From being lifted up, from being raised up, and gedula, and getting big. We'll call it ein raya klal. It's not a raya. What's a raya? Raya's a proof. It's not a raya. That's what he says. Let's read the first paragraph. Let's read the first few lines. Why? Ki hisnasus hu davar b'fnei atzmo, because hisnasus, getting lifted up, we'll call it maybe a raise in stature and standing, maybe in the community, maybe in the shul. This act of being raised up, lifted up, is a davar b'fnei atzmo. It's its own thing. It's not a raya klal, he says. L'pamim osim davar shayidei zeh zochen legedula. V'hisnas, sometimes a person could do a thing where through that thing he's zoche to this gedula, this certain aliyah, this ascent, this greatness, v'hisnasis, and being raised up in whoever's eyes, in the community, whatever it may be. V'kevan sha'ala lo yered, and because he was lifted up, he can't go down. What's Rabbi Nachman saying over here? When a person gets, you see a person held up on a certain pedestal, he rises in fame, lav dafka means anything. In Raya Klal, it's not a raya to this person being a person of high stature. But the pnimius hadavar, the pnimius of the person, I mean, you're seeing nowadays for the past few presidents, pathetic at best. At best. What's going on over here? Hisnasis is not a raya to an inner hisnasis. And we'll even say from the Torah, which word is related to the word hisnasus in the Torah? Naso, nasi. Now the nasi is supposed to be a tribal leader, right? Problem is that we've seen one. Zimri, we just had it. Zimri was a nasi of Shevet Shimon, and yet he was mizana in the worst situation in history. The Farhesia open. 24,000 Jews dying. He's of Shevet Shimon, and he's being mizana. What else?
The Meraglim, no?
The Meraglim, we're going to see him. They're supposed to be the highest. They're appointed by probably Moshe, and yet they failed miserably. And there's other instances.
Most of the kings were corrupt, weren't they?
Definitely from Yisrael. Judah and Yisrael, yes. And we're going to talk about one in a second. Yisrael, you looked at that?
No.
Look at you.
I'm saying most of the kings were.
So but Rabbi Nachman's going to say something fascinating about that. Dafka, we'll see in a minute. But you see that even if you're appointed by Moshe, even if there's a stature, you've been raised in standing, it's not a raya klal, because it doesn't mean that you're inside and out, raised up. There's another word that's probably better, that would refer more to an inner aliyah, meaning the pnimius of the person is true. It's hisromimus. Hisromimus is something a little bit loftier. Okay, but that's for another time. Because the way it is in the world, as we know, that if a person gets raised up in stature and standing, automatically it must be, this is a big person. Right? That's the natural thought of most people in the world, because most people are sheep, driven just by what it looks like on the outside, on the chitzonius. Most people don't see what's going on in the pnimius unless that big person lets out what's going on in their pnimius, and then you see the real person. But if not, and just the outside, that somehow they got raised up, so then people automatically assume, and again, I'm not saying yes and no, but lav dafka, that means anything true. But we live in a way of our eyes. Our eyes trick us. Korach's eyes tricked him. Korach thought that because he had Shmuel coming out of him, says Chazal, therefore he's a big person. And Chazal tell us what happened. You're not a big person. Your kids are big people. He's only going to come out of your kids. But his eyes tricked him. Shmuel's coming out of me. Must be, I'm a big person. This person gets raised up. Must be, he's a big person. Let's ask him for advice. You know? Lav Dafka. Rabbi Nachman says, and it just happens to be, I'll just tell you, in the back of this version I have, they bring down, you know the Sefer Amidus of Rabbi Nachman? You ever see the Sefer Amidus? I mean, this is just one version of it. Sefer Amidus is Rabbi Nachman goes through, what's the BRI version of it? I think maybe the Aleph, is there an Aleph-based book?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the Sefer Amidus, where it goes through Rabbi Nachman. I think he wrote this when he was young, quite young. And he goes through different topics, Eretz Yisrael, His Nasus, Hamtakas Din, Geneva, Gezela, Litzanis, tons of things. And he writes like one-liners. Yeah, I'll give you an example. For His Nasus, how does a person get to have this elevation?
What's his Nasus?
His Nasus is to be raised up. I'll give you one. Here, let's see. I guess I should have prepared this before anyway. Let's get. I want to get a good one.
What about his Nasus?
What?
His Nasus, you said.
Yeah, no. There's a whole list. There's tons of them. Mi shesone gazel, somebody who hates gezela, ola legedula, gets raised up to gedula. So he hates gezela. I don't know. Maybe otherwise is he such a good person? I don't know.
In that area.
Somehow that raises him up to gedula. I'm trying to bring some random ones. There's some that are big. Here, Ayidei limud agada b'layla. Somebody learns Agadata at night, Misnasa, he gets raised up. Now, just parenthetically, Rabbi Nachman says these one-liners, and then where do you get them from? So it happens to be there's been many big people. Rav Tzadok himself, Rav Tzadok from Lublin himself, tries to explain where Rabbi Nachman got some of these ideas from, where they come from. It's fascinating, right? You don't usually see one chas and another. However, after that, the Rav Micharin, and there's even a sefer that came out recently which has even more. I have it at home. I forgot. I think maybe it's Rav Atia or Mordechai Atia, maybe. He goes through every single midah and every single line, and he brings a source for it. Whether it's a Nach, in a Gemara, it's unbelievable. It's a limit of itself. Anyway, so because of one of these little acts, which Lav Davka tell about the whole person, he can get raised up. So again, it's not a raya klal. So we're not Umatzini b'malchi Yisrael, we find by the kings of Yisrael, Dafka Yisrael, who were generally Rishaim, Shebishvil davar echad, because of one thing, Zachu lemelucha adoravi. Because of one thing they did, they were zocha to have the kingship by them for 4 generations: son, grandson, and great-grandson. Kamashikasa brings a pasuk. Malachim Beis, that's a Navi, Malachim. It's one of the 24 books. So make sure everybody knows. Shoftim is Malachim. Even seldomly learned. We have to get back into the Nach. You got a couple. Just a couple minutes more. Yeah, my throat is. It's had better days. Pasuk says, by Melech Yehu. You ever hear of him?
Yeah.
You heard of him? What?
Yoshki? No.
No, Melech Yehu. His name was Melech Yehu. That was his name. King. It says by him. So he's interesting. He came after one of the worst kings that Yisrael ever had. You probably heard of him, Achav. Right? Achav and Izevel, who were trying to kill who? Elio.
Oh.
Elio.
Oh, worse.
That was Elio's arch nemesis. The Nevi'ei Baal, that whole Maisa where Elio shechted the carbon outside the base of Mikdash, like the whole thing with the fire coming down.
Yeah, competition.
That was by the Zman of Achav.
So after Eliyahu won, they tried to won it?
No, this was a big fight between Elio, Achav, and the Nevi'ei Baal. The Nevi'ei Baal were bad guys. Achav was a bad guy. They were on like the same team. And Elio was fighting against them, trying to prove to Klal Yisrael that this is Sheker, this is Avodah Zarah. Now, he ended up getting Melech Yehu, ended up getting Achav killed him. Killed Izevel. He killed all the Rishon. So the pasuk says, "B'nei Reviim Yeshu L'cha Al Kisei Yisrael." The Navi comes and he gives a promise to your Yehu. Thank you. B'nei Reviim Yeshu L'cha Al Kisei Yisrael. B'nei Reviim. What's the word Reviim?
4.
Mm-hmm. 4 levels of children, meaning 4 generations. You're going to sit Al Kisei Yisrael. You're going to sit on the kingdom. Problem is, Melchiah was not such a, meaning he killed Achav, but he himself wasn't such a good person. He still did a Avodah open, the Navi tells us. Yet, for this one act that he did, which is a big act, he killed Achav and he Ezel, but still, for this one act, he got the kingship for 4 generations. What did this guy do? The Dover said, "Be'emes kashel haven," says Rabbi Nachman. It's not hard to understand this. How does it make any sense? Al koponim, but nevertheless, nevertheless, even though the reward is hard to understand, after 4 generations, which that's what the Navi from Kadosh Baruch Hu promised Yehu, after 4 generations, no matter what, the Melucha is gone from that family. Va'afilu im yaseh dover zeh she'osa zekeno v'yoser mizelo yo. Says Rabbi Nachman a chiddush the other way. Now, where are we holding? The first chiddush is that a person who's not such a good person could do one thing and somehow get such a reward they could have 4 generations of kings. Huge reward. Doesn't make any sense. And not only that, now Rabbi Nachman's turning the other way. After the 4 generations are up, game over. That's what the Navi says. You get 4 generations of reward. What happens if the 4th generation is a big tzaddik? What happens if he's even bigger than his great-grandfather Yehu?
Missed out.
It's over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense. You could have the 4th generation be bigger person, but truly a bigger person, epidemius, than the one who got the reward, and still you have to lose the kingdom. Even if this 4th generation would do the same thing his great-grandfather did, I don't know, kill some bad big Russian, the Yosef is that even more than that. Well, it won't help. He lost the kingdom. Because it was already paskind that the Melucha is going to end after 4 generations. Nothing you could do about it. And he, the 4th generation, needs to endure, he says here, the punishment of his fathers, or he has to endure that which, the end of the reward. Okay, I mean, Rabbi Nachman says punishment. We can say punishment. What?
He's losing the kingship. That's punishment.
Okay, it's punishment it is. So you see on both sides, the reward doesn't make any sense, and the punishment, right, also doesn't make any sense. He says in parentheses, do you have in parentheses in your version? Nimsa, Shu Palinas Gavamot. This is a great wonder. How does it make any sense? The fathers were zocha to this davar, to this great reward, the melucha for 4 generations, because of this one thing he did. Whatever it was, here it happens to be he killed Achav and he's ever. Vadoravi ba'atzmo, and the 4th generation himself, that guy, shekavar muchzak melucha. He already has the kingdom, which is already a big thing. Me'avosov, he already has it from his fathers. Eino mo'elo shem davar. Nothing can help him keep the kingdom. He could be the tzaddik hador. It doesn't matter. Afilim yasos adavar shasa avi zekeno. He's just repeating what he said before. Even if he does exactly what his great-grandfather did, in a good way, yoelo shetumshach machuso. It will not help to continue his kingship. Yoser l'dor shachrav, more for the next generations. Game over. V'afilim yasa mashi yasa lo yoel. Doesn't matter what he could do. That won't help. Because it was already determined that the melucha would be gone. So it's a big wonder. The rewards are a wonder. The punishments is a wonder. V'havein, and understand. Understand what?
We don't understand.
Taka, yeah. Understand you don't understand. What's that called in another language? What do you call when you understand that you don't have to understand?
Oh, it's a high level.
Okay, I want a word for it. It's actually a very simple word.
Take it.
Emunah.
It's called Amuna, no?
Ah.
Take it. Amuna. That's what Amuna is. Understand that you don't understand. And it's okay. Doesn't make sense. Ubemis, ein anu mivinim dark Hashem. The emes is, we have no idea the dark Hashem. Yes, when a tzaddik who is davening all day long and learning all day long, even tzedakah, and he gets raised up, it looks like it makes sense to us, right? It makes sense that this person should be raised up. And you have a big Rasha doing lots of rishis, and he goes to jail. It makes sense. But so, it really doesn't make sense. Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu runs it. Because you have many tzaddikim who don't get raised up, and you have many Rishonim who don't go to jail. So just because once in a while the thing happens that looks logical, doesn't mean that we are really understanding the emes behind it. Right? Harai, it doesn't always happen. Right? Everything that happens in this world, this is the Emunah of Hashgacha Pratis. That's what he's talking about over here. And we'll continue in a minute. The Emunah has two major facets. Emunah, not bitachon, Emunah. At least in the intellectual sense of Emunah. Emunah is Hashem created the world and everything inside of it, without any exception. And he's the manig. Ani mamin be'emunah shlema, shabaris baruch manig. He's the borei, he's the creator, he's the manig. He did, he does, and he will do. Right? He made, he makes, and he will make. Everything. There's no exception. There's no exception that when there's something going on in the world in an event, and we know these things already, but it's Kedai Chazron. Because we have to, because we get sucked into all these events of the world, and we forget about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As if you watch the news, which you shouldn't, that's what I always say, right? You mentioned the news before, so it's getting me thinking, of course. The news is Asr. Asr Deraisa. Why? Because it makes you into Atzos, and it makes you also... the truth is, why is Asr Deraisa? Because it makes you a kofar. Because who watches the news and says, oh, Kadosh Baruch Hu, look what you did today? Nobody.
So concealed.
It's not concealed. It's pretty obvious, actually.
Hashem's presence is concealed.
Whatever happens, whatever actually happens, even though it's all lies, whatever actually happens, it's Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's very simple. Really, it would be the simplest news, What?
Simplest news report.
Simplest news report, yeah. But what happens if you see things in this world and you don't connect it back to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't make sense. How could you allow such a thing to happen? No. How Kadosh Baruch Hu? How does these things happen? The question like that, without at least even putting Kadosh Baruch Hu in, is tantamount to kfir. Even knowing, these kinds of questions, we don't understand. Who said you have to understand? When did that become like a rule in our like you were born and therefore you're allowed to understand? Who said such a thing? We think we should understand that because that's coming from a place of human logic without HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Is he HaKadosh Baruch Hu obligated to explain to us everything he does?
No.
Is a parent, when your kids come to you, Tati, can I have this? No. Why? I don't have to tell you why. Sometimes you tell the kids why. But sometimes I'm obligated to tell you why. No. You have to go to bed now. Why? Just go to bed. Why? Right? We're not, as parents, I always use this as a marshal, of course. As a parent's not always obligated. You're not always obligated to tell people why you do things. Who says? Why'd you do that? No, you have to tell me. Why do I have to tell you why? Because Baruch Hu write us a whole list of things why you did it. We weren't able to handle it. So just know that you're not going to know about everything. Right? See, when it comes to things in this world that are, let's say, monetary, depending on the person, they can understand. They can try to download in their system. Okay, I don't have to understand everything. You can't always win. When certain tragedies happen, a person can sometimes lock in. Okay, I don't understand. But if my friend gets raised up to a position, and I know he's a big jerk, and I know that I'm better than him, and he's getting a higher, that a person can't handle. Right? We have limitations on our emunah. We have limitations on what we can believe, but that's not good. We have to understand that we have to allow that our emunah in knowing that we don't know, and allowing it to be that I don't understand everything, that I believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. It has to permeate everything in our life. You can't pick and choose. And the second that you find yourself doing that, recognize that you're not holding by emunah at that moment. Right? You don't have to understand. Why do people, what one of the probably, I would bet, I don't know if there's studies on this, maybe there are. Probably I would say one of the top 3 reasons for sadness and depression in this world. People don't, number one, they probably think everything's random. Number 2, even if they believe that there's a God who's doing it, they don't like what he's doing. Why do it? Why don't you ask me what I want? People who have emunah and say, Kadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you say goes, they live happy lives. Does everything ever go well for everybody all the time? Is there ever such a person? No such thing. So why is it that when it happens that we don't understand something, we like, it hurts us and we can't make ends meet? If I would ask you in the morning, hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think today is going to go, every single thing's going to go your way? What would you say? Logically, no. Would you like that? Obviously, they would like it to go their way, but logically, it's not all going to go my way. So why is it when it happens, it doesn't go our way, we can't handle it? What happened? What happened in between? No? If I would ask you, is every day going to be sunny outside? Answer is, of course, no. It can't be sunny every single day. So why is it when it starts raining outside, we all complain and get depressed? Oh my gosh, it's raining again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get all wet. Didn't you know that it was going to, at the beginning of the year, you knew there was going to be like 65 rainy days. And if you live in England, like 364 days of rain. Anyone from England here? So what happened? You ever think about that? You person's never going to stop their toe ever. A kid is never going to not listen. Their kids are always going to listen to you. So what happens in between all these things? Why are we losing ourselves? When, if I were to ask you at the beginning of the day, do you think your kid's going to listen to you today every single thing you tell them to do? Probably not. So why are you getting so upset when he's not listening to you? Don't you know that already? It's a good thing to think about, no? Imagine we can get to this answer, change our lives, no? Shall we just think should just sit in awkward silence?
You think it will be sunny every day?
No, but you ask the guy, he says they know it's not going to be sunny.
Could be.
So logically, he knows it's not going to be sunny every day, but he wants it to be sunny every day. And his want, which comes from here, is more powerful than here. So even though if you ask him at the beginning of the day, is every day going to be sunny? Of course not. He's speaking from here. But when he's got work and he didn't bring his raincoat, he wants it to stay sunny. So when it starts to rain, he's all bothered now. He's all thrown off. He hasn't surrendered to reality. He believes a Kadosh Baruch Hu here. He doesn't believe a Kadosh Baruch Hu here. That's you guys know from this. This is Bavada. That's the big difference. We intellectually know everything. We're very smart people. We mamish know everything. We know Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. We know this. We know. But the second it doesn't go my way, that's when all the ideas, all the things that I know go out the window. Right? And the ego picks up, the taiva picks up, the kinna picks up, all that stuff picks up. We haven't drawn things down into our system, into our heart, to make it real. Yeah, we believe it. You really believe it? If you really believed it, you wouldn't get so upset about this thing. Right? Can you argue with that? I don't think there's anything to argue about. It's the reality. Why are you so frustrated at this thing? You're so bothered this thing doesn't make sense to you. Why? You know everything? If I give you a calculus AP, I don't know, some ridiculous physics book, and I say to you, here, read it. You don't understand it? No, of course I'm not going to understand it. So then why do you think you're going to understand this thing? because I wanted to understand this thing. That I don't care about. This thing I care about. But we have to understand it's not these things are not in our control. And we have to if we have emunah on HaKadosh Baruch Hu and believe that everything mamish is run by him, Hashgacha Pratis, and we believe it not just here, but really here, so then every day is a sunny day. Because it's not about what's going on in the Seviva. It's not about what's going on. This person gets raised up, it's a sunny day. It doesn't matter. It matters about what's our response. It could be a thunder and lightning day, and you could have a person dancing in the rain. Right? Because it's not about what's going on the outside. It's always about what's going on the inside. Previous. The hisnasis, because a person gets raised up on the chitzonis, that's not a riot to anything. And the person who's really truly raised up on the inside, he doesn't even need to get raised up on the outside. He doesn't care. If you're truly a big person, you don't need everybody to know that you're a big person. Big people don't need to know. Big people don't need other people to know. Little people need everybody to know that they're big people. Right? Because little people need other people to raise them up. That does not mean that big tzaddikim are little people. There are true big people, of course. We just don't know. Sometimes you don't know. So Ibn Nachman says, we don't know the derech Hashem. You have sometimes a person could do many good things. You know, a person does many mitzvahs, and he really should be raised up, but because there was a predetermined gezerah against his ability to raise up, so he doesn't get raised up. And you can have a person who really doesn't deserve to be raised up, but he did one thing, and he can get reward until the fourth generation of Alvin, and understand that anything is possible, and understand that you don't have to understand. See, because you have the people, there's a class of people. What do you mean predetermined? How does it make any sense? How that's against Bechira Chavshis. You have all this. Can someone show me, by the way, just Agav? You heard this Bechira Chavshis business? Free will? Never heard about this concept? You've heard this Bechira Chavshis, right? Can someone tell me a source where those words are from? I'm just parenthetically, anybody wanted to tell me? Bechira Chavshis, free will. Where is that? Is that in the Torah somewhere? Is it Chazal? You heard this before? ChatGPT. They know everything. Does ChatGPT have free will? Oh. I don't know. Do they? Do they not?
Next week.
They don't always tell you the MS.
Program.
I'll go upon him. So the person might ask, wait, we have Bechira. How could there be something predetermined? How's it fair? So you're saying that this tzaddik, the fourth generation from Yehu, he doesn't know, but he's already going into a situation that he can't win. Right? Because even if he's the biggest tzaddik in the world, he ain't keeping the melucha. How's that fair?
Milo got in the first place.
What?
Milo was born with melucha in the first place.
No, he didn't get the he doesn't get the melucha. This one doesn't even get it. He was born into let's say the fifth. He doesn't even his father was the last one.
So the fourth one, yeah. Fifth one, no. But the fourth one, yeah.
What is this guy? This guy's a big tzaddik. It's not fair. It's predetermined. What about Bechir? I mean, he's choosing to be a good person, and yet he's losing out. So how is this fair? People have these questions all the time.
Do something
I'm
else.
such a good guy. Why am I not getting like that guy gets? Well, another awkward silence. You've never been bothered by that you didn't get something that somebody else got? You're like, what? So people become sad about that. They become angry, depressed, frustrated. No? Stressed out.
Play video games.
Play video games. Video games still exist? Not holding. Game Gear? Sega Genesis? You're too young. What do you know? You guys are holding. My choice is to choose a Emunah. Every response that I take, every move that I make, it's either what I want, so the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants.
Yeah, some quoting.
You have what?
Yeah, some quoting.
Yeah, from where's it first?
The actual term Bechir Chavshis.
Yeah.
The actual term Bechir Chavshis doesn't come till it says Reb Chaim Volozhin.
That's pretty big.
Musa from Reb Chaim Shmulevitz and Reb Dessler.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look those up. Save that. Send that to me.
Otherwise, it says four times.
Let's see what they learn with it. Anyway, okay, upon
It
him.
doesn't say it specifically.
So when you have, what are we talking about? Want, choosing. So predetermined, right? What does a Kadosh Baruch Hu predetermine? The situation, the outside, right? This person is the Melucha or not the Melucha. But you choose still, to be a tzaddik or not a tzaddik. You choose how do you respond to getting what you want or not getting what you want. You're still full bechira. Just because you didn't get that external thing, that doesn't mean anything. Who even says that's a good thing? Who decided that's a good thing? To be a Nasi sounds like a good thing, but clearly not. Right? We get caught up in the wants, and you have to know where these wants come from. Why do you want to be the king? Because you're such a good dude?
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. What are you, Lion King? Simba over here?
Crown is heavy.
What?
The crown is heavy. It's usually not good to be the king.
Good king. Look what we had over here in Melech Yisrael. It was bad. Why do you want it? Because power.
Right.
How many people Emes wanted to be king and did a good job? 2. David, Shlomo. I think it's the end of the list. No, there was Chizkiah. There was a few others. Because they really cared about the people. Like Shlomo Melech even, right? Hashem granted him anything he wanted. He says, I want wisdom so I could judge the people. Honestly. He didn't care about the money. Hashem gave him everything. David Melech, he cared more about the people than himself. But the kingship is a big hizach. It's not an easy thing. Everybody says, give me all the money, because I'll be good with it. Good, very good. Like, you know what you're going to be like. No, I'm going to give. You know, everybody's like, the Davin's Kushba, if you give me the $1 million, you know I'm going to give 30% to stuff. Like that guy will only give you 20%. Let me win the lottery, because I'm going to give more. And the Malachim are like laughing, because they know what this guy's going to turn into if he makes the million. Now this million is nothing. I know, it's like 10 million. Million is like $1,000, right? Everybody's diving like that, right? You've dived like that before. Come on, you have. You know I'm going to Kushba. I'll give you 40%. Just let me win the lottery. I'm winning 250 mil. I'll give you 50. I'll take 200.
This is why I'm not winning. Someone keeps upping it to 40. It's crazy. I was at 15. I didn't.
Somehow, Kosh Baruch, you take the taxes. I'll take the money, right? Kosh Baruch says, it's not good for you. Don't. It's not good for you. So we have to choose to accept what he believes is an external, right? I could still choose. I choose the pinimis. I choose how to react. I choose how to respond to that external situation. And when we know that we don't know, which is Amunah, I know I don't know, and I don't have to know, and I believe in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so then every situation you go through, you're happy. Some things are harder than others, but you come out strong, you come out happy, because this is the way it's supposed to be. It's when we fight against the reality. It's like after the ballots are counted, after a few months from now, if you still hold on to who you thought should be the president, the loser, then you're a loser. It's over. Like, what are you complaining? Oh, I can't believe he won. What's going to be?
So we know it's not great.
It won't ever be over.
Right, it's still going. No, it's
still
going. It's still going. But this Torah, this Sicha is really a Sicha about Hashgacha Pratis, about the Emunah and Hashgacha Pratis, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs everything, and we have to live in we're living in His world, and we have to let it be. And you can come out a big person. The person who really has Hisnasis is the person who chooses to be the big person. The Hisnasis on the outside is lav dafka right to anything. Again, it could be just one thing that happened. He was raised up. But a truly big person, a person who's elevated, who's lifted up, whose head is above everybody else, is the person who every single situation, every single day, he says, whatever happens is exactly what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants it to happen, and I'm happy to live in this world. So Menachem teaches already in Sichos Haran. This is the way to a good life. People think, well, if I have all the money and I have all the cars and I have all the house and I have all the everything, then I'm going to be happy. Menachem says, you don't need any of that stuff. Just surrender, bittul, emunah to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and then you have it all. Then you already have it all without having anything, any stuff. Because again, stuff is external. Stuff is hisnasos. Stuff is the same pit that everybody falls into. You have all the money? Does that mean you're happy? No. Right? All the money is not a right to being happy either. A right to being happy is surrendering to the situation, to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Knowing that you don't have to know. No? It's passion. It's just that right now when we're learning it, it's right here. But tomorrow, we don't get what we want, it's going to be over here. And there's the difficulty. That we can't just know this truth. We have to want the truth, daven for the truth, and try to get to that place. Right? Again, knowing is not enough. Right? You have to draw down to the light, into the heart. And then a person becomes a big person. I'll just finish off with something that I probably said here before, but I think it's very important. So a person might come to he wants an eitzah. How do you come to the difficulties and see the good in it? It's a hard thing, right? Again, we're speaking about it here. How do you do it, Lamaisa? How do you bring yourself to that? So I think the eitzah is very simple. I've said it to many people. I think it's an open Mishnah and brachas. The Mishnah brachas at the end says, "Kashem shem mevarach al tov." I don't know the exact quote. Kashem shem mevarach al tov, just like you bless Hashem for the good, mevarach al hara. You have to bless Hashem for the bad. You have to appreciate. You have to see the goodness in it. You have to be mevatel yourself to Kodesh Baruch Hu, right? This is what we're talking about. But how do you do that? The Mishnah doesn't say, but the Mishnah does say. The Mishnah says very clear. Kashem shem mevarach al hatov, mevarach al hara. If you would be a person who sees the good of a Kadosh Baruch Hu in every moment when things are good, and you thank him, Kashem Shem Mevarach. What does that mean? It means Hoda Hakar Satov, right? Kashem Shem Mevarach HaTov, the same exact degree that you really truly give yourself over to Kadosh Baruch Hu when it's good, Mevarach HaRa. You'll be able to also bless him when things are not good. But when things are going well and you don't attribute it to Kadosh Baruch Hu, you don't thank him, you don't appreciate. And then when things go wrong, then you're like, oh, Kadosh Baruch Hu, where are you? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, what do you mean? I was with you the whole time before that also. If you would have seen me in that, then you could see me in this. Because when a person gets the Hodah and Hakar Satov, which are big sugyas, we're not going to get into them now, but Hodah and Hakar Satov is not, Hakar Satov truly is not intellectual. Hakar Satov is truly in the heart. Because Hakar Satov means you're feeling. Hodah is, thank you for giving me the thing. Thank you, Hashem. Good start. That's not a Hakar Tov. Hakar Tov is when you experience the joy, the simcha of what you got. Right? When you get stuff from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. But it's chitzonius. And that's what we're taught when we're kids. Thank Grandma for giving you the toy for your birthday. Thanks, Grandma. Oh, and that's it. And then she walks away like, wow, can I just go back to playing my game? Hakar Tov is more mature. Karstov is that you're misboning, you makir the tov in this, tov Hashem lako. That takes it from the outside and brings it to the inside. And then when you live with it in the inside, it's a whole different world. Because now when you're mevarach HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the tov, you've experienced it, you felt it. Now when things don't go exactly your way, you have more of an ammunition, you have more of an ability to withstand when you don't get something. Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me there, he's not giving me here, but he probably has a good reason for it. Once you say that, he probably has a good reason for that. The whole thing, all the sadness and the depression can turn around and say, okay, it's hard now, but you can breathe through it. Muna v'shgacha pratis. Got to work on it. It's the real deal. Game changer. No? Yeah? Amos? Your mammon?
All right, beautiful.